Well, howdy. Welcome to another episode of the Watch It Play Q&A. My name's Matthew, and together with a bunch of your help, let's endeavour to answer all of the internet's burning board game questions. The internet, full of questions, seldom has an answer that doesn't involve something grossly incorrect. But I've got some questions and let's go for it. Our first one is, what makes you want to back a crowdfunding game? A P500, Back a Kit, Kickstarter, GameFound. There's a lot of crowdfunding games, aren't there? A lot. What makes you pick out the gems from the vast morass of games that are pushed in our faces every day? Other than turning off your computer and ignoring it all completely, also valid. And also, isn't it enough to say that the answer to this question that makes me want to pick out one of these games to back is just a vague, amorphous gut feeling? That's not satisfying, is it? I do have, I keep this in my mind, a little checklist of things I look out for in games. You get the gut feeling. You go, ooh, this looks like something I would enjoy. Matthew, on the internet, enjoying a game. It's never been done. And I think to help me kind of like curtail those feelings, rein them in, a checklist against the games. Because we're against them. Be against them. The first thing I look for on a Kickstarter page, for instance, just using Kickstarter as an example because it's kind of like the nomenclature, is does the game have a rule book? A real rule book. A PDF is fine. That's real. But a full rule book that also happens to describe an actual game that can be played. There's some games out there that you just go, oh, rulebook coming. Is this a game? Is this just a bunch of components and some cards and an idea and a dream? I want to see a rulebook. The second thing to think about is, does the company have a proven track record? Of course, you can't always do this. A lot of Kickstarters and crowdfunding games, and I think most rightly so, are companies that are just starting out, that have an idea and a dream and want to make something. But if it's not that, does the company have a proven track record of deliverables? Keyword, deliverables. Have they promised things that have never come to fruition? Is fruition, which I'm forgetting how to say as I say it more often, even the right word? One thing I really like to see on a Kickstarter page is a full playthrough of the game. And if Monika Naveen did it, then all the better. I want to see the game played from start to finish. That kind of gives a proof of concept right there. And it gives me a way to really look at something and make a decision about it. And then I can try to look in deep into the souls and the eyes of the people doing the playthrough. Are you having fun? Get a mind soul read on that person. Link with them. I think one thing that's important is a lot of these pages have back and forth with the publisher, the people making the game. Are they answering the questions that are being asked? What are the answers to the questions? What are the questions? Other people might have noticed something you didn't. Is the game getting a general release? That's something I want to know. Is this the only place I can get this? Because if it isn't the only place I can get this, probably might just wait until I can just buy it. But the biggest hurdle for me is the shipping cost. Is the shipping the same cost as the game? Not doing it. Je refuse. What are the things that you look out for? What things did I miss? Let me know. But one thing you can't miss is the incoming message from a Canadian man named Rodney Smith.
You know what makes me happy? Well, Heavenly Hash ice cream. You know what else makes me happy? Getting board game expansion content to fit back inside the main game box, especially if I can do it in style. And Folded Space is here to help. They have an entire line of custom inserts, and I'm going to give you an example with this one for Lost Ruins of Arnak. This is an officially licensed and updated version they created to contain both the base game and the Expedition Leaders expansion. If you have the missing Expedition expansion, although this won't fit all of its extra boards and campaign content, its standard cards and components will also fit in here, and the cover still closes flush. As you can see, the modular nature of the insert means you can pop the sections out and play straight from them. In fact, many are designed to be placed directly on the game's boards, and because of the colorful printing on their sides, they blend right in. I'm also a big fan of the icons you'll find inside the different sections to remind you where the different pieces go. This is a big convenience when you have a game with so many different components. The entire product is packaged as 3 boards that punch out easily to ensure there's no damage to the edges. You then assemble the pieces using the Clear to Follow guide. All you need is a bit of PVA glue and you'll have it put together in no time. It's not always easy getting help packing up a game after it's over, and even if you do get help, people find creative ways to do it wrong. But with this set, people will both want to help, and the visual guides means that even your friend Bob won't have trouble figuring out where things need to go. And this is just one of their inserts. They have over 170 more, with new ones being added all the time. To pick up this insert, or one or several of their others, go to foldedspace.net, which is also linked in the description of this video. Or in the US, you can also find them at Miniature Market and at Board Game Bliss in Canada.
The next question is something I've also thought about, because it's, where do you wish you could buy games? There are so many places that I think, I wonder if they sell games, and they don't. Or if they do, it's mass market games. You know, there's so many places where I think they could definitely sell some hobby board games here, and they would sell. They'd make money. Think about money. That's what we're all thinking about all the time. You know, I think our games, there's so many, that the abundance of themes in games that exist out there, some wild and wacky themes. What were they thinking? You could say, I'm thinking gift shops, right? You go to a gift shop, any gift shop, for almost any place that would have a gift shop, I can normally think about 5 or 10 games that could be in this gift shop that would probably sell. But I've run into the problem, right? I was in Fussen in Germany, in Bavaria, which is where the castle of Mad King Ludwig is. Do you know what they don't sell anywhere in that town at all? The castles of Mad King Ludwig, or the blueprints, or the palaces, or between two, none of those games. You can't get them. Doesn't exist. Why? Why not? I think that they would sell copies of that game there. And I looked hard. I really looked. I'm always looking for board games. Museums. Museum gift shops. They sell Lego. They sell jigsaws. They sell notebooks, postcards. Why not a board game? An art museum could have modern art in it, or classical art, or any art game, advent card. You know, there's loads of art-themed games. Why not have them in the art gallery? You know, you go to the car museum of cars, all the cars. What a fascinating and fun day out for everyone. There's loads of racing games that could, you know, that could be for sale in the shop. I could see Downforce for sale at a car museum. Cafes would be a great place to sell board games because you could also play the games in the cafe. And I don't need every cafe to be a board game cafe, but I could see them selling a small variety, a small selection of fun, light card games, for instance. Nurseries, where you buy flowers from. You know, not like kindergarten, but like nurseries, where you get plants and a swing set from. There are so many flower games. Too many. There's not too many. There's so many games that are simple and fun and beautiful most often that you could sell in a nursery. Tussie Mussy, right? Little card game. How about Floriferous, which I can never say, but that would be a great game to sell in a flower shop or in a nursery. Town information centres is the next one on my list, because let's face it, there is normally a board game on that town. If it's a city, at least there's a game. Almost every town has a game about it. They should be selling it, I think. And the final one on my list is airports. They always sell Lego. You can always buy Lego in an airport. Why not board games? I really think that, again, you could have it on the city of the country of, you know, you're in Germany. Although I have seen Haber games and exit games in German airports, in Frankfurt airports and stuff like that. But I don't know, you're in Madrid airport. Just sell a bunch of games that are about Spain. How about you? Where are the places that you think not only would you like to see board games, but that makes sense to be selling board games and that you think you'd actually get some sales? I think we should start something. I don't want to be in control of it. Its distribution sounds complicated to me. I think there's a lot of great ideas out there for extra places, little niches where you can sell board games.
This episode is made possible in part by Hedge from Floodgate Games, coming to Kickstarter on September 26th. Welcome to a land of moderately powered magical gardeners known as Hedge Mages, who have 2 powers: grow shrubs and animate garden gnomes. Now, these enchanting horticulturists have launched an all-out wizard versus wizard prank war, and no gnome is safe. Build a hedge maze of polyominoes to prevent your rivals from stealing your gnomes, while also navigating their mazes to nab theirs. Discover neighboring gnomes, spark them to life, and then steal them away for victory. Can you conquer this ever-expanding leafy labyrinth to gather the largest collection of ill-gotten garden gnomes? It's an ever-changing puzzle to outperform your competition. Follow the link in this video's description to catch this clever creation on Kickstarter starting on September 26th, 2024. Because when sorcery meets shrubbery, it never ceases to amaze.
And the final question we have this month is, can someone explain to me the rabbit hole that is Japanese games, please? You know, we want what we can't have, and for many of us that does ultimately end up in the hunt for small print run, rare Japanese card games that we have no hope of ever pronouncing correctly. I've seen more than one victim fall foul of this endless task. Hello, I'm Matthew. I like those games. But I will say also, why stop at Japanese games? Because we always think of Japanese because of Tokyo Game Market, stuff like that. But there's a great abundance of Taiwanese games, Singaporean games, South Korean games. There's loads of Malaysian games. You know, there's lots of other markets that have games that are like, what is this? When did they print this version of this game that's got great art now? You know, that type of thing. Or what's this game that everyone's playing that no one can get? And how do they get their copies? You know, those games. I will say often, but not always, the very best, the cream of the crop of these games do ultimately enter the zeitgeist and we end up playing them. Trio is a great example. I pointed at my copy of Nana, which is the Japanese version of Trio. That kind of got hot, exciting, people were talking about it, and eventually got picked up. I mean, you think of games like Love Letter, right? Started off as a small micro card game from Japan, and not only is one of the best-selling games of all time, I have to imagine, it's been reprinted into, I've got Munchkin Love Letter. You know, you can get Adventure Time Love Letter. It's one that's been hugely reprinted. A lot of these games that are truly phenomenal do get wide releases. Infiltrators just got remade by a company, Pandasaurus, I want to say. I do think that instead of giving you a list of a huge amount, I have made a list. Of course I have. But before just giving you a list of games that I've enjoyed that are, you know, Japanese card games, there are a few places I think you should go to talk to some real experts on this topic. Those are Taylor's Trick-Taking Table. Taylor's wonderful, he's funny, he's a lovely human, he's also a really great board game designer in his own right. And that's a place to go to find an abundance of Asian mainly card games that are interesting, and if they're interesting to him, they're probably good, so that's a great source of information. The next one is Cardboard East. Jay from Cardboard East used to live in Taiwan, and he's got a huge birth of knowledge about an abundance of Asian games, and that is somewhere, just go watch like a top 100 from him. He's got a top 100 from Japan, and he's got loads of stuff. That is a great place, a huge wealth of knowledge, again, to all of these games, and just look at the ones that look the most interesting to you, and then spend time, effort, and money hunting those games down. There's the Board Game Dojo, which is a great little YouTube channel which I've enjoyed, and it's a great place sometimes to find just the information that you need on one of these games that you just saw in the corner of your eye and you go, what was this? Board Game Dojo often has a video on it. And the last one is my friend Mike Delicio's Twitter. He went down this rabbit hole hard. And his Twitter is sometimes a great place to find out what he's been playing. And sometimes you go, what have you been playing? What is this? Can I get a coffee? Mike Delicio's Twitter, that's a place to go. And also, this isn't a sponsored segment, but there are some companies that do offer imports. The one in the UK is called travelgames.com, and he does a bunch of work bringing these games to the UK, and then you buy the games off him. They are more expensive because there's a whole thing that these games have to go through, but that's where I go. Travelgames.com is great. What are these Asian card games that I happen to love the most? I do own quite a few. Again, I'm just looking at them over there. I've kind of collected a bunch of these over the years, but I would say I've got a small list. I've just written it down just here. Nana, which you just said, Trio, just buy Trio. It's a great game. You don't need to buy the Nana version. It is cuter, but Trio's got nice art as well. There's a game called Schadenfreude, which is a trick-taking card game that completely broke my mind, but it's really good. You want to be second. You do not want to be first. You want to be second. It's fantastic. There's a game called Wonder Bowling, which looks like bowling but does not play like bowling, and it's so stupid. You are knocking these pins off a board, just hitting it and hoping for the best. It's so much fun. Wonder Bowling. There's a game called Spoil Me Not, which is a game of gift giving. This is a Korean card game, a South Korean card game, and I absolutely love that one. Spoil Me Not is just a remarkable game that also twists your brain a bit. You have to kind of work out what's going on and what you're actually going to end up with for points. But you're kind of like trying to collect points and slough off things to other players. Give a gift to someone that they do not want. For 2 larger games, Rubble Nation is a really great card game of area control on a board. It's just fantastic. Trains, can you see it? Yeah, Trains. This is AEG, but this started off as, well, the same company that brought over Love Letter, right? It starts off as a Japanese deck building game. It's brilliant. Trains, I've got Trains, the Rising Sun expansion, I've got the Coastal Tides expansion, and a couple, but I got really into this game. That's unfortunately just called Trains, but it's great. And the final one I will say is a game that's been reprinted a bunch of times as our Echo or our Oko, depending on which one you got. It's a game of getting a hand of cards and trying to pay them in. You're collecting trash and playing them into the different areas to get points, right? And then sometimes the points that you get are negative. And it's great. It's fun. Love that game. How about you? What are the games? What are the Japanese card games or Asian games in general that have just been just great winners with you and your friends, with your family? What are the games? Because I tell you what, I will look at them and I will hunt them down. I'm like Jason Bourne. I'm like Liam Neeson. I'm like Dog the Bounty Hunter for those games. And that's it for another month. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Until then, be kind to yourself, be kind to someone else, and I'll see you next time.